Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today I'm gonna walk you through the process of me painting this Hobbit house. And without further ado, let's get into it. So I started out by wetting both sides of my paper to prevent it from buckling. Then after putting some masking tape down, I'm just gonna go straight in with a very light blue to paint the sky. And it's going to become whiter and whiter as we get closer to the horizon. Now after the sky is in, I'm using a clean damp brush to take off some of the blue color where the cloud is going to be. In this step, making sure that you're cleaning your brush often because there will be blue paint sticking to your brush, and in order to effectively take off new paint in the next area, you definitely want to keep cleaning your brush as you go. Now I'm going in with a very light purple by mixing light blue, a lot of white, and a little bit of burnt sienna and ochre. I'm not going for any detail right now, I'm just putting down the color in the area where we just took off the blue paint. This is just to define the cloud shape. After that, I'm adding a lot more white and a little bit more ochre to the mix so that it has like a light pinkish color. And I'm adding this color to mostly the top part of these clouds. Try to work fast in this initial phase because in order to make your cloud look fluffy, you want to do it while the paper is still wet. And for the highlight part of the cloud, I'm just going straight in with pure white without really mixing any color to it. And this highlight is going to be on the top of each of the clouds that we just painted. At this time, the colors already started drying out. One thing to note is that these colors don't dry out evenly. So if you notice that your clouds is a little bit patchy and sticky, wait until everything is dry completely before you make any adjustment, because things may not look that patchy when it's dry. So now I'm leaving my cloud to dry, and in the meantime I'm mixing a yellowish skin tone color to paint the walls of the Hobbit house. And to make this color lighter, I'm just adding more white to it, and for the darker part I'm adding a little bit more burnt sienna to get that warmer tone that you're seeing right now. For the foliage, I'm starting out the dark area with more blue, and as I move to the lighter area, I'm adding more yellow and white to it to give it a more warmer green. And I'm not going through any detail right now, I'm just putting down big shape, defining where the foliage is going to be. The same thing for the road and the stony step to the Hobbit house. I just put down big shape, defining where the shadow and the light is going to be without adding any details to it. For the door and the windows, my midtone blue is just cobalt blue mixed with a little bit of white, and the darker part is indigo blue mixed with black and cobalt blue, and for the lighter part I'm mixing sky blue, cobalt blue, and a lot of white. I'm adding a warmer burnt sienna to define the shadow part on the top right of the door, and now I'm switching to a smaller brush to start getting in the details. Starting out with some straight lines on the door, and then after that I'm just putting more smaller straight lines in circle around the rim of the door. And you still want to make sure that the lines in the shadow area is going to be darker than the lines in the lighter area. Now I'm going back in and just varying the color in between the lines on the circles. I'm either adding red to my burnt sienna mixture to make it warmer, or cobalt blue to make it cooler. And as you can see, Quinoa is walking around my paintings, so oftentimes you will see a lot of cat hairs sticking to my painting paper. And I can't really do much about it because she's too cute to be kicked out. And as you're doing this, try to vary the color that you're painting those rectangles. Sometimes adding a little bit more red, sometimes adding a little bit less red just to make it more interesting because not every brick is the same colors. And now proceed to do the same thing for the lighter area, and again making sure that no matter the variation of colors you have on the rectangle, it should still be lighter than those one in the shadow. Now I'm also adding those straight white lines on the window. I noticed at this point that the left wall is not dark enough because that part should be in kind of like more shadow. So I'm mixing a darker yellow orchid to darken that area. I'm switching to more of a medium-sized brush to start adding in some details on the foliage. So the area right above the windows and the door is going to be darker because it should be in shadow. I'm using a more bluish color for that. And as things move to top right area, it's going to be lighter, and I'm adding more yellow and white to make that bright green color. For the larger area, you still probably want to use a bigger brush just so that you can put down the bigger shape, defining where the shadow and the light is going to be. The small brush is going to be for the very last step to put in tiny highlights and details. In this particular painting, my focal point is around the main door area. So around that area, I'm painting more leaf details. My highlights is also lighter and more sharp compared to the bottom left area, where it's mostly just big brush stroke because I don't want the focus to be there. I'm going back to the stone step to add more blue on the top of him. And then I'm going back into the foliage to add some more highlights and leaves details. And I'm also adding the doorknob, or at least what I think is the doorknob. Maybe door button? I'm not entirely sure. But anyways, I'm using burnt sienna as my mid-tone color base. And for the darker part on the left hand side, I'm adding more black to the mixture to make it more like a dark brown. And for the brighter part on the top right, I'm using the same skin tone color as the highlight part on the door rim. And now the last step is just going in adding some small flowers on the left hand side, right below the door, to add more details and to draw more attention to our focal points. At this stage, the painting is pretty much done. It really depends on you how much detail you want to add. The real-time version of this is also available on my Patreon website. You can check it out through the link in the description. And I would like to give a special thank to my Patreon. I'm very appreciative for all of your support, and I wouldn't be able to do this without you. Thank you so much. And that's our painting. Thank you everyone for watching. If you like this type of paint with me video, please leave a comment down below and let me know. I think next week I'm going to do a similar one for a Genshin Impact scene. So make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell button so you got the notification for that. And I'll see you all next time. Bye! Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today I'm gonna walk you through the process of me painting this Hobbit house, and without further ado, let's get into it.